Good afternoon, everybody. The forger is online. Hey Dickard, how you doing, buddy? Hi Kevin. I thought I'd start you guys off with a real forger. How about that? Hey Carl, how you doing? So here's a man who's passionate about his craft. Hi Chris, how you doing? This is Frederick in his own forge. I think it captures the intensity. Hi Al, how you doing, buddy? How's work today? How's work in the machine? Great, Chris, I'm pleased. Nearly at the end of the week, eh? Close. Counting down the days. So, just to let you know, Buckin and I have been in touch with Frederick today. We've been having a chat with him. Great, I'm really pleased you like the clips, and I think it came out pretty well. Hi Babinski, how you doing? Yeah, I think it captured the experience for us, for me and Buckin Billy. I tried to... Warm Kent, where are you, Babinski? So I tried to capture it. I know it was pretty noisy in some parts because obviously we were in the forge, but tried to make it as real as possible so you felt like maybe you were part of it and you were there. It was pretty noisy in there, particularly when those big forges started up, when those big hammers started up. Hey, it's the Northerner. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Yeah, where are you in Kent, Babinski? Where are you? How's your son, Northerner? How's he doing? Is it Simon or Simen? How is it pronounced, your son's name? Sevenoaks, sunny Sevenoaks. My nephew lives in Sevenoaks. He works in London, and he lives in Sevenoaks with his three children, 3 girls, and his wife, and his new Labrador. Yeah, I'm fine, Northerner, thanks. Really, really well. Shanked, Mr. Buckin Billy Ray Smith. Okay, so we've got Mr. Buckin Billy Ray Smith in the house, unfortunately. Somebody has to entertain him during the day, so I thought I would take on that role for what you guys is this morning. It's the afternoon here. Okay, Al. Well, I'm really pleased to see you. Great of you to call in, and hopefully you'll check back on the video that's made from this when you have time. So thanks very much, Al, and thanks very much for being one of the original subscribers to my channel. Al's one of the original True Blues on my channel. He's been with me since the very beginning. Him and John, the Swede. Both of those guys have been with me since the start. So thanks very much, Al, for sticking with me. You're probably really bored by now. Have a good day, Al. Okay, Al. See you later. Take care. So yeah, this is a picture of Frederick in his own forge. He works for himself as well as working for Grand's Force. Yeah, they are gold, Buckin. They are gold. And also old school logging. Oops. Old school logging was one of the originals as well. So those 3 guys are kind of the original subscribers. And we had a lot of fun at the beginning trying to make videos. So yeah, it was good. Okay, Al. Take care, buddy. Have a good day. Take care in the machine, eh? So, yeah, as I mentioned, Bucking and I have been having a little chat with Frederick today. We thanked him very much for the course. I don't think the course would have been anything like as good without Frederick. He was so enthusiastic and so passionate. I passed him the link to the playlist. So there's a playlist on the channel which has 7 videos. Yeah, Kevin, it is a lot of work to make an axe. Good, Chris, well done. Have you got a lot of cutting to do this afternoon? It is a lot of work to make an axe. It was made a lot more enjoyable by Frederick and his enthusiasm and his knowledge and his willingness to share. Yeah, you have got to get that gullet, that's for sure. Make sure you do. And so Bucking and I both enjoyed it, a lot more, I think, because of Frederick. So I passed the playlist to Frederick. Hopefully he's going to go over and take a look. He's got a starring role in all of the videos. So hopefully he will participate, and we look forward to Frederick perhaps putting a few comments in, and we look forward to hearing from him. So hopefully he will see this once this is finished and put up. I think he is teaching today or he's forging, because the messages I've had from him have been from his phone. So I don't think he's in front of a computer. I think he's probably in the forge. And it took him quite a while to answer my message this morning, so he's probably working. Yeah, we really enjoyed Frederick's company. He's a very nice guy, very enthusiastic about his craft, very knowledgeable. I'll just pull another picture up of Frederick here, if I can find it. Here we go. Yeah, this is a pretty dramatic shot of Frederick. So here's the man in action. Obviously, we were much better at it than him. There's many more dramatic shots than that of us, me and Bucking, working in the forge. But I think these pictures really capture the feeling. And you can see in Frederick's forge, I think we mentioned in the video, or I certainly mentioned in the comments, how dark Frederick has the forge so that he can see the colour of the metal. And it's very, very important for them to be able to see strong is not the word, my friend. When you see somebody who, he's not overtly massive, but he's someone who you could certainly respect for. You could certainly respect him. Don't trip over, Al. You could certainly respect him for his physical attributes. I mean, he was someone who, he could go at it all day long. He could be at the forge all day long and wield a hammer and work in the heat, and very little fat on the guy. Hi, Evo Jigger, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming in. You've got lavender weed spraying to do, Wawinski. In Sevenoaks, is that what you're doing in Sevenoaks? Do you live in Sevenoaks? Oh, that's great. Well done. So say hi to your neighbours, Chris. So yeah, Frederick's a strong guy, and obviously his passion is blacksmithing. So, like anything, if you're passionate, working in a forge, yeah, you're right, Dickard. It is like working in a boiler. Yeah, and of course, it's in those circumstances where we were on that course. Of course, you've got 8 forges going, because you've got 8 people on the course. So it's not just one forge, which is hot enough. You've got 8 forges all bursting out with heat. So yeah, it was quite hot in there. Anyway, that was good. Okay, so you're living and working around Sevenoaks. Well, my father is originally, when he was alive, he was from Faversham. So my father was from Faversham, so not a million miles away from you there. And his father was a cabinet maker, furniture maker for a big estate in Faversham. And they used to live in a tied house. They used to live in a house on the estate, which was provided by the estate. So you didn't get so much money, but your accommodation was free. So my grandfather used to have a hand cart with all of his tools, and he would push those tools to work every day from home. They would spend the evening sharpening them, and then he would push the cart, and my dad would walk alongside him to the manor house where he worked, and my dad would then go off to school. So they lived in a very rural location, in a place just outside Faversham called Shottenden, which unfortunately now has kind of been bisected by the motorway. There's a motorway runs through what was the village now. But I know that area. Yeah, Shepherd Neame Brewery. I could tell you a lot about the Shepherd Neame Brewery, Babinski. I know the Neames, and we actually did some construction work on that brewery when they changed it around. So we worked there. Stella Artois is in there now, I think. Well, it used to be. The lager, Stella Artois, was in that brewery. They'd installed the vats for that. So, know it well. Marshy, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. So I will spin the camera around. I know you'd rather look at Frederick rather than me, but let's spin it around, because I've got a couple of things to show you guys. So, hi Angie, how you doing? I shall move back a little bit so you can see me. Yeah, it's strong. I mean, it's when we were young, drinking Stella used to give you a headache. Yeah, Angie, I know. You're one of Bucking's neighbours, aren't you? And Mr. Bucking Billy Ray is in the house here at the moment, so he may well give you a neighbourly nod. Hi Mark, how you doing? Okay, I've got my coffee here, keep me going. There's literally a medical emergency in the house. My wife's gone to London. She's in London for the week working, and I've run out of tea bags, which, you know, for an English person is like, I mean, two things you need to survive, I'll get back to you, Babinski, is tea and curry, and I have neither in the house at the moment, so I'm going to have to do an emergency run after this to the shop to get some tea bags. So I'm drinking coffee, which is not my drink of choice, but there you go. No, me neither. I probably drink, I don't know, I mean, if I told you, you'd think I was some kind of addict. Probably drink 20 cups of tea a day, maybe more. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, we buy it in boxes of 300, 2 boxes at a time, so that gives you an idea of kind of the consumption of tea in this house. But yeah, I've run out because my wife's gone to London and she didn't tell me we were running out of tea. Yeah, Builder's tea. So, strong, milk, two sugars. Yeah, no tea, brother, no tea. So, yeah, I'm not really a coffee guy, but needs must, you know. So it's half coffee, half milk, heated up in the microwave. It's going really well without Lisa, Al. I am quite self-sufficient, although that last statement belies that somewhat. Yuck, says Kevin, yeah. Coffee Red Bull Monster. Yeah, it's not for me, I'm afraid. Caffeine's not really for me, I'm afraid. Doesn't do me any favours, just makes my head ache. Hi, Huck. Bobinski, sorry, I missed your earlier comment, which was about living in Shottenden. Here we go, I managed to come back. Excuse me, on the screen there. 18 years, really, the plough. Look, I'm sorry, Bobinski, I was really small when my grandfather was still alive. He died, I would have been probably 3. I might not have been that old. I could just walk because I can remember, yeah, headache and vibrate is right. I can just remember his house, and he had a thing that he had made which we call, I think, Angie, I think we call a dumb waiter, and basically it's a wooden cutout of a person that you have just inside your doorway, holding his hand out with like a tray. And you would go in and you drop your keys or drop your whatever on the tray, so it's convenient for you, and you can pick it up. And funny enough, I have got the tray here, he said, from that very dumb waiter. So the dumbwaiter got thrown away because it deteriorated over the years. But I have got the original oak tray. Just excuse me a moment. Famous last words, of course. Oh well, sorry. I won't say the word I want to say, but I can't find it. It's around somewhere. Anyway, I've got it. It's very similar to this, which I made. So I made that out of oak, and that is very, very similar to that. Very, very similar. And it's the original little tray. So that used to be inside my grandfather's door, something like that, and you just come in and you drop your keys and that in it, and then you could pick it up and put them back in your hand. So yeah, I would have been about 3 when I was going to Shottenden. So you know, the pubs and that would escape me, but I just about remember it all. Yeah, DIY. It's like, yeah, it doesn't do me any good at all. So yeah, I remember Shottenden, and unfortunately the motorway got put through, the M2 got put through, and it literally was about 100 metres from, less than perhaps 50 metres from my grandfather's house. So yeah, it totally changed everything. But anyway, bit of history. So, generally rambling. 2 cards I've got here. You may recognise this guy, if I put it in the right place. Mr. Bucking Billy Ray's tree service. Keeping it green, indeed. So I hope you're keeping it green today, Mr. Bucking Billy Ray, in your neighbourhood. So that is one business card we've got. I will put my finger over his telephone number because he may not want me to give out his telephone number. Can you see what that says? Tree, I'll read out what it says. It says, tree friendly solutions, skilled, well, you know, that's a bone of contention, in hazardous tree removal, certified faller, fully insured, born and raised in Cedar, BC. There you go. So, yeah, Mr. Billy Ray's card there. Nice business card. And then I've got another business card to show you, which is the business card of Fred. So this is Fred, yeah, certified, that's right. I won't say that in case it gets recorded, but yeah, you're right. This is Fred's business card. Fred has his own forge, so that's his email address there. Sorry, his web address for his website. So you can go there and take a look at his stuff. It's all in Swedish, but I mean the photos aren't. Hello Alan, how you doing? Nice to see you. How are you, okay? How's your bird? Everything all right? So Frederick, and it's just the website again. But yeah, interesting. Huck, I do come to the States sometimes. I've got friends in New York, and we've got direct flights from Malaga. We can fly directly to JFK from here with, who is it? American, I think it is. Can't remember now. So we can fly directly there. And also I've got friends in Salt Lake City. So sometimes we fly into New York and then we fly over to Utah to see the Mormons. So yeah, I do get over there. In fact, I was going to start a project with a company that's just outside of Salt Lake City called Legacy Woodworking, Legacy CNC. They make 5-axis woodworking CNC machines. And I was going to start a little project with them, and I still might. I haven't got around to it yet. But yeah, so I do come to the US occasionally, but I mean, that's about the top of it. I've been to Miami on the way to Columbia. and I had a little look around in Miami once. Scratched the surface. If you want to stop by, I live in PA. Okay, Kevin. Well, it looks like my association with Mr. Bucking Billy Ray is potentially living up to some kind of world tour. So I'm getting a number of invites from a number of different people. I must mention, because of the time, unfortunately, I try to kind of do this at a time when Europeans and Americans and as many people as possible. Sorry, Dickard. Sorry for mentioning that word. I tried to do it at a time when most people could get access to it, but it has excluded Big Wazza and it has excluded Loaded Dog because it's the middle of the night for them. So I did a little conversation with Loaded Dog earlier on, and I said I would mention him, give him a shout out. So Loaded Dog, Big Wazza, I hope you get to watch the video. Thanks very much for supporting Bucking in the way you do. Thanks for coming over to my channel and subscribing. And I'm sorry that we had to do that. Well, we didn't have to, but we have done the live feed now. But we'll try harder next time. Maybe we'll have to do one at a different time of day, middle of the night by the sounds of it. Middle of the night here, anyway. So sorry about that. But yeah, Big Wazza and Loaded Dog, big thumbs up. Okay, so earlier on. Okay, phones are busy. Okay, Angie, thanks very much for coming along. You're meeting up with Bucking later, by the looks of things. So earlier on, I said I got a bit of news to release when I gave a little spoiler for this, and the news is here. It's been detained, actually. It's been on its way for some time, and then it was detained, and I've been in conversation with a certain person about its detention, and then today it arrived, having been released from captivity after some paperwork. So if I show you part of it, you might understand what it is. Okay, Babinski, thanks very much for joining in. Check out the video when you're done. Hope everything goes well. Thanks very much for letting us know where you are. So, as you say, Dickard, Tim is in the Bucking Special Club. Now, whether I'm worthy of wielding such an instrument, especially when you see what's on the end of it. So, let's start at the fat end. Here's the fat end. Lovely grain, really beautiful handle. Prepared and oiled as per usual by Mr. BBR. We've got the BBR mark in the handle. Wow, Evo Jigger, you know, you've got to have some suspense in life. You can't have everything all at once. So what do you think? What do you think it is? It could be a classic head of some kind. But, you guys know about axes. You guys know more about axes than me. So, as you have deduced, here she is. It's a potato. Yeah, it's a potato splitter. I can now make my chips at a distance. In fact, I could probably make my chips in the deep fat fryer with this, as they fry. So, it's a lovely axe. It's... we can't get double bits here. I mean, you can in Spain, but I mean, they're rare because it's not a forestry place. We don't have any forest because they cut it all down. Yeah, it's lovely, Alan, isn't it? So it's suitably dickered. Really nice double bit, and it's got this, good for cutting chickens' heads off. Yeah, I mean, you could just cut 2 off at a time with this, I imagine. It's got this Christmas tree symbol in it, which... we're not certain about who the maker is. Bucking feels it's German, and I'm sure it is. He knows a great deal more about it than I do. But it's got this Christmas tree logo, and it is a 2 1/2, as you can see. Yeah, they do make beautiful hand-forged axes in the Basque region, but they're all slip-on. You know, they're all that, I don't know what the right term is for it. Yeah, he did. He left some paint on so you could see. It was all this kind of orangey red colour before, and he's just taken it back and left it on to give it some legacy. Lovely finish on the top, as per usual, from Mr. BBR. Perfect hanging work. And you probably can't see on here, but actually the bottom of the head here is completely uneven. It's from forging, so it's very, very uneven. It hasn't got a smooth, and it's never been ground. It's been shaped and ground here probably, but here it's never been ground. And Bucking's got the handle to absolutely mirror this all the way along. So, you know, you've got not only have you got no gap, it mirrors the sort of faults in the forging. So it's quite amazing, really. So I hope I can do it justice. Hopefully I will do some splitting with it, because that's really all I do here is split wood for the fire. So I shall be wielding it. It's wicked sharp. I don't know if perhaps Mr. BBR, if he's still here, can let us know if he uses his new antique sanding machine, his little thin band sander, to sharpen it. Always leave some of its history on it. Yeah, well, so you should, Mr. BBR. I need to learn the flick technique. Evo Jigger, I need to learn more than that. Believe you me, the flick technique is the least of its worries. So I shall probably, because it's such a nice axe, and obviously my efforts could potentially ruin it, I'm probably going to wrap something around here. I'll probably get some leather laces or something. Okay, Al, take care. Speak to you soon. Thank you for being here, Al. No, I shan't be putting it in my leg. And, you know, I'm going to wrap something around here just so that... Cheers, Billy. Thanks, Bucking. Thanks for coming in. Good luck cutting today. So, yeah, I should probably wrap something around here, thick string, or some leather laces or something, just to protect it while I get used to using it, because for sure I'm going to like overstrike with it and not use it. Yeah, German, not a battle cruiser, an axe cruiser. So, yeah, 1, 2, 3, go. So, yeah, a lovely gift from a great friend. Oh, you're not going anywhere yet? I thought you were going. Were you saying goodbye to someone else then? You need to get your facts right, son. So, yeah, a lovely gift from Mr. Bucking Billy Ray, thanking me for the trip to Sweden, which, as I said in the comments, a lot of people have been on thanking me for the trip, but, you know, I got so much from the trip. I had such a great time with Bucking Billy, and, you know, it wouldn't have been the same trip without him because of his knowledge and experience and the stuff he told me about when we were there. And so, you know, you're only getting half the picture, aren't you? If you're not someone who's lived their lives with chainsaws, you know, I've got chainsaws, but I haven't lived my life with them. So, you know, he fills in all the gaps. And likewise at Holtzbrook and at Gransfors, you know, his passion for axes made that whole experience totally different to what it would have been if I'd just gone there on my own. Now, I think I said before, it might have been on Sunday, you know, you could have a quite solitary trip there, really, because you're out in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and basically you and the axes, you might end up doing yourself in. But yeah, it was so much better doing it with Bucking Billy and someone who's passionate about axes and all the things we did. And I think there's a real connection between Sweden and Canada. There just is. Same kind of outlook there. People seem really relaxed, laid back people, helpful. The forests. I think there's probably a bit more water in Sweden. I don't know. There seems to be water everywhere. But yeah, just a lot of similarities. So I'm sure there's a lot of parallels you could draw between Sweden and between Canada. And massive coincidence. And I was speaking to Bucking about it the other day. A lady contacted me. Okay, Mark. Good luck. get the rest of it cut up, eh? And the video will be up after this anyway, so you can fit it. Okay, DIY, good to see you. Thanks. You're in Maine, kind of southern Canada. Yeah, kind of, I guess. Good lobster there, is it, Chris? Is that right? Good lobster in Maine. You know, all I know about is the generalisations about everywhere. So people tell me. Bucking has a strong force. Yeah, use the force. So yeah, earlier on in the week, a lady contacted me about some consultancy for her, and she contacted me from Sweden, and she phoned me up, and we had quite a long conversation. And she is looking to buy a large olive farm, and I was talking to her about that, and we blah blah blahed for a while, and then as we were signing off, I said, "Oh, it's funny, I've just been to Sweden for a week," and she said, "Oh, where have you been?" And I said, "Well, I went with my Canadian friend, and we went to Norrköping, which is where Holtzbrook is, and this lady owns a forge in Norrköping." Hi, Cynthia, how you doing? So this lady owns a forge in Norrköping. I mean, would you believe it? And she's married to a guy from Vancouver. I mean, you know, it's like mad. I said, "Well, my buddy's from Vancouver Island." And she said, "Oh, I've been there so many times. Where's he from?" And I said, "Nanaimo." And she said, "Oh, I've been there whale watching." So, you know, she's coming on the 23rd of October. She's coming over here on the 23rd of October to come and look at this olive farm. So, yeah, what a coincidence. I mean, bonkers, you know, completely bonkers. So, yeah, there's a Swedish lady married to a Canadian man. And I can see how it would happen if you weren't careful. So, hi, Sin, how are you doing? How is everything? Great for you, great to see you. I've just been demonstrating something. I ought to show it to you, being who you are. This arrived today from Mr. BBR. It's been in custody for a week while I had to explain what it was, and it wasn't ticking. So they released it and it arrived today. So I'm very, very pleased. Lovely gift from Mr. BBR, who's in the house. Yeah, I'm sure it does look familiar, yeah. It's got this lovely Christmas tree on, yeah. Hi Bangflop, how you doing? So yeah, I shall be wielding that. I might even wield it later, once I've been and got some tea bags. So I shall wield it in private first, so I don't make too much of a fool of myself. I was going to do an unboxing, you know, when these people get this and they unbox it all. I was going to unbox it, but the way he wraps them up in all that tape and everything else, I mean, I started to do it and it took me about 10 minutes to get it off. So I thought, well, you know, nobody wants to watch that, do they? Someone with a penknife cutting cutting tape off. So I didn't bother with that. No hippie dancing while axing, no. I might hippie dance with the two hatchets with the sheaths on, Cynthia, which will be safer. Well, that's a good question. I think Canada, or certainly Nanaimo, is lacking duct tape at the moment because most of it came to Spain on this axe. It was like some kind of silver, I don't know what it was. It looked like a silver lightsaber. They certainly wouldn't have been fooled if I told them it was anything other than an axe in customs, that's for sure. So they knew what it was. But I had to tell a few stories to get it released because they were wanting to charge quite a lot of money for its release. I had to bail it out of custody. So I did have to bail it out, but it wasn't expensive, fortunately. Had it out in 2 carts, Carl. So yeah, did you have it out in 2 carts? Yeah, I didn't. I most certainly did not have it out in 2 carts. I think what didn't help. Hi Michael, how you doing? You're on vacation in Georgia. How is it in Georgia? Is it nice there? That's south, isn't it? Like south. Yeah, I probably do. I mean, they probably run scared, Ange, when he comes up in the truck. They probably hear him coming, down the road, and they probably just lock the doors and barricade it so he can't ram raid their duct tape. What wasn't easy was this, the nature of that being wrapped tight with that duct tape all the way up here, and then this again. I managed to get this off pretty quick, but the rest of it, you know, was and I didn't want to go digging the knife into the handle because the handle's so nice. So I had to be a little bit careful. Hi Johnny G, how you doing? How's Detroit? How's everything in Detroit? Yeah, I know, Angie. It's like a bit of a signature, isn't it? Here comes Bucking. Did you guys get the wacky races? I might be showing my age now. Like Dastardly and Muttley and the Anthill Mob and all that. Did you used to get that? Because there used to be a character. We used to have a comic here, like a comic book, and it was called the Beano. Loud Pipe Save Lives. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, sorry, it's lost on you. Yeah, Huck, you remember it. We used to have a thing called the Beano, okay, a comic called the Beano. Now, if you go online, Beano, if you go online and have a look. Yeah, great, Johnny. It's really good, thank you. Really good. Glad you could join us. And in the Beano, there was a character, okay, and this character is called Desperate Dan. Okay, Alan, yeah, I did as well. I used to come home and watch it after school and stuff. Yeah, wacky races. Anyway, if you could get online and find this thing called the Beano, and then find Desperate Dan, that is Bucking, okay? That character is Bucking. So if you can find it, yeah, that's it. It's great, and it's only just dawned on me really. So yeah, that was it really. I mean, that was the announcement. The axe has arrived. I'm going to be testing it out. I shall, even though it's still hot here, I shall start splitting up some wood fairly soon so that we're ready. Lisa was rubbing her hands together the other day saying, oh, it's getting a bit colder, we can have a fire, because she loves having a fire. Even if we have to have all the windows and doors open, she likes to have a fire. So no doubt within, I don't know, 6 weeks or so we might light the fire. But it won't be because we're cold, it's just because Lisa wants the fire lit. And I have to cut the wood up for it. South, way hotter than me. I used to watch these shows. Nice acts. All right, Michael. Yeah. So yeah, it's about. I mean, daytime now. It's like 28ish. Yeah, thanks, Johnny. I'm going to practice with it first because with this double bit, I'm going to practice with this double bit that Bucking sent that is here today because I've never used one before. I guess it's similar, but 24. That was good, Dickard, eh? I mean, that's Celsius, is it? Not Fahrenheit. I'm talking Celsius. So 28 is like 82, is it? Something like that? About 82 Fahrenheit. Kevin, I had a look at your stuff on there. It's amazing, isn't it? Your telescopes. They're incredible. I mean, I didn't know people made their own telescopes. Okay, Celsius. Sorry, Dickard. Yeah. Yeah, I get confused. So it's pretty warm. 52 in Michigan. It doesn't sound so appealing, Cynthia. You're not selling it. 52, you're not selling it. I mean, I wouldn't be going outside, I don't think. 85 yesterday and 65 today. Yeah, well, still that's reasonable. Huh? Frost on the roofs. Jeez, really? We don't get frost here. We just don't. We don't get it. It doesn't. Nothing freezes. Hot in Florida. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm interested. Kevin, my niece is an astrophysicist, and she used to be the astrophysicist for the Pope. So she was in the Vatican, in their observatory in the Vatican. So she has been all around the world looking at planets and stars and heavenly objects, and she has actually named a planet. She discovered a planet and named it. So I have got a bit of telescope use in my family. It just gave me a thumbs up. Well, I don't know why. I mean, I never give you a thumbs up, Bucking, ever. I mean, I never even watch your videos. Hardly. If I can help it. Unless I'm really bored. I mean, if there's nothing on the TV or whatever, then, you know, I'll put it on. But other than that, I mean, who wants to see some bloke wandering about cutting trees down? Yeah, so sorry, Kevin. I was saying she went to Namibia. She's been all over the place looking at things in the sky. I mean, that's not my... I don't really understand it. And my nephew, who's also quite an intelligent person, doesn't understand what she talks about either. So I think the whole family is mystified. 4 degrees? Yeah, jeez. The lowest we've ever had is 7. 7C, that's down by the river. Lowest at the house is 10. So, like, all of our water pipes and everything are above ground. We don't have to... Yeah, Carl, I can imagine. We have that problem here sometimes as well, because we get a fall in temperature. Daisy's calling you. Okay, Al, well, you better go and see her if she's calling you. I hope she's well. I hope everything's okay with Daisy. Yeah, you know, 10 is about as low as it gets at the house, and all of our pipe work, all of our water pipes and everything are exposed. They're all above ground because we never get a frost. So, all right, Alan, have a good day, eh? If you're off, have a good afternoon. Don't be sad, fall brings winter, saw surgeon. Yeah, you're right. One thing is nice about living here is we do get seasons. Certainly in the UK... Yeah, the old buzzard's off to see the eagle, I think. It's off on my channel, but check it out. I'll have a look, Johnny. I will have a look. Good, you've got more subs than me. I'm not coming over there. I'll come over there when I've got more subs than you. You know, don't expect any favours here, my friend. You know what I mean? It's dog eat dog. It's cutthroat. I mean, I'm after Bucking. You can tell. I mean, 300 today, 10,000 tomorrow. That's the way I'm operating. So don't tell him, he won't see me coming. So yeah, no, I'll come over, Johnny. I'll come over and have a look. Minus 47? That's unbelievable. I'm out of here because you got me beat. All right, dickhead. All right, take it easy, buddy. Do you not miss the rain? West of Ireland. Yeah, I've been to Ireland a few times, and I've got very fond memories of Ireland, Ender. One of those fond memories... Oh, I'm sorry, dickhead, I get confused. Ender, one of the fond memories I've got of Ireland is being there on... Yeah, great attitude, yeah. Bucky won't be saying anything. Yeah, there you go. He's the only reason I invited him to Sweden, that's right. Ulterior motive. Sneaky. I was in Ireland and it was St. Patrick's Day, and I couldn't tell you where I was, but I was in a small village, and I didn't understand why the police were like motioning me to turn off the road and everything else, slightly ignorant of what was going on. So I kept driving along this road, and then the pavement started to be lined with people, and I actually was leading the St. Patrick's Day parade. So I was in my hire car, whatever it was, like Ford Fiesta or something, at the front of the St. Patrick's Day parade with a marching band behind me playing music and people on floats and stuff. So that was my claim to fame in Ireland, that I led the St. Patrick's Day parade in a Ford Fiesta, in a hired Ford Fiesta. No, you know, understandably, we left that village at quite a rate of knots. Before we got stoned. But no, it wasn't exactly, no, but you couldn't move because there was all these people in front, so you couldn't get out of the situation. You couldn't just like disappear off down a side street because they'd put all these barriers up all the way down the road, and there's people, and then there's people in front of you like milling around. So I'm, you know, in my little hire car there, you know, anyway. Yeah, I was a Grand Marshal, yeah. Yeah, I was somewhat, yeah. No, I didn't have to sign any autographs. I think the police might have liked an autograph from me, but I managed to get out of that and get away. But yeah, I do have very fond memories of Ireland. Mostly having to lock myself in a yeah, like the Queen. We are not amused. Mostly of having to lock myself in the pub because it was pissing down with rain, and there was a fire and a rocking chair and Guinness. So just like install yourself in the pub, and that's the end of it. So I've got very fond memories of doing that. there probably is. Yeah. Someone took a photo of a frightened Englishman driving through an Irish village, trying to get out of the way of the parade. Yeah, I did. Sorry about that. It is live. You have to sort of take it. Hopefully, no one young is watching. They should be at school anyway, young people, shouldn't they? The Shawshank statue, yes, with my little rock hammer, like at the side of the road with my rock hammer, symbolic of my release from captivity. So yeah, I have had a couple of trips to Ireland, and I've had a great time. Although Dublin is very expensive for whatever reason. Oh, sorry, Carl. I do apologise. Sorry, it slipped out. So sorry. Does he understand? Yeah, you know, I've been to a few places around the world. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. I've embarrassed myself in most of them. So, you know, I've got a number of amusing stories which I won't recount now, but probably not my most embarrassing moment, but yeah, entertaining at least. But yeah, I do like Ireland, but I don't like the rain. Michael, don't forget the file. So, So yeah, forging. I hope you've all enjoyed the forging videos, 7 in the series in that playlist. Hopefully it kind of showed you what it was like to be there, and they're kind of in sections, so if you're interested in something particular, sorry I don't remember everybody, but somebody was mentioning the other day about bringing an old axe back to life that they got, and Frederick did go through all of that with Bucking. He's watching YouTube Kids. Oh, that's fine, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, most of them are just immersed in something else, aren't they? So that's good. I'll try not to, but sometimes it slips out. Yeah, hopefully you got it all. Oh, I'm pleased you got good picture quality. My internet here isn't the best. We're a little bit out of the way, and we've got what's called a point-to-point connection. So we've got an antenna on the roof and an antenna on a node up on the hill, and that delivers my internet to me. So we are at the mercy of climatic conditions. If it's particularly hot and there's a lot of like heat rising, it will interfere with the connection. So sometimes it's not so good, but I'm pleased it's good. I'm just on the iPhone, of course, and it's connected to the Wi-Fi in the house, which is also connected to a wireless connection, point-to-point wireless connection. So it's usually pretty good. The upload isn't so special, but I've found a way around that now. Loved him saying too hot, then a second later too cold. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it was like that, and I think that's the reason they have their forges so dark, is so that they can really see that colour. And we were very fortunate that he was so proactive, and when we were doing that part of it, when we were hardening our edge, he came along and participated. So he did help us in terms of the heat and the colour and the time to plunge it in the water and the amount of time and everything else. So he did really, really help us. At BBR's Hippiewood Jobby Festival is yet to be planned. Yeah, hopefully, Josh. Yeah, that might be quite an event. I don't know if anybody noticed, but Mama Bucking subscribed to my channel the other day. So she's in the house now. I don't know if she's here now. I don't suppose so. She's probably enjoying herself rather than being punished by me talking. But yeah, she's joined. So hopefully we'll see her in the future, and we can all welcome her in. So it's lovely to have her on my channel, and hopefully she'll find something mildly interesting. And I went over to Band from Glad and watched a few of her performances the other day. Yeah, she did, Josh. Yeah, she subscribed. She sent me a message saying can you do something about my son? I said, not really. I think he's past any kind of help. So, you know, we tried. I took him away to Sweden. In fact, it was her idea that I took him away to Sweden just to give everyone a bit of breathing space. But he came, unfortunately, he made his way back. So, no, it's nice for her. Is this the only channel she watches? No, I'm sure she's subscribed to lots of others. I'm sure she is. It's only because of the connection with BBR, of course, or B, as she calls him. So I hope she'll come along and have a look at what's going on in Spain. And I hope there'll be something interesting for her. But yeah, she sounds well. How is she, Bucking? Is she getting on okay? I know last time I spoke to you when we were in Sweden that you thought she was doing well. So hopefully her recovery is continuing from the operation. Bucking, how is Hogan? How's his shoulder? How's he doing? So yeah, I hope you got that, Warrior. Yeah. Like his dad. I hope you got all that from the forging, and there's sections on the hardening, on the tempering, on the grinding. I try to kind of break it up so that you don't have to wade through loads of stuff. If you're particularly interested in something like resurrecting an old head, you can take an old head up to 800, which normalises the steel again. Doesn't matter what's happened to it before in its past. If it's been badly heated up while grinding, if it's been badly tempered or whatever, you can heat it up to 800, which normalises it all again. The steel goes back to its natural state. And then you can just edge harden again, as you saw us doing. That 780 is for Grand's Force steel, which has a 0.65 carbon content. So that's quite specific. But I think it's around the 800-ish. That's probably the gamble, because you don't really know what the carbon content is of the steel unless you get it tested. So I guess you could work to 780 to harden the edge, and then temper it at 240 on the hot steel like we did. Hi Sebastian, how are you? You okay? So you could go through that process and bring an axe head that you don't know anything about back to what should be normality, and should have a hardened edge with a tempered body of the axe head. I'm very well, thanks, Sebastian. Really good. How are you? How's things there today? Yeah, Josh. Yeah, that would be some hippie wood chopping experience, wouldn't it? Everyone could turn up with their axes. Some kind of mad axe competition. I sent a picture of my new axe to my wife in London, and she wrote back, "Is it safe to come home?" Because she has seen The Shining, and obviously is slightly concerned about the number of axes that are turning up in our house. As I did have 3 axes before. I bought 3 very old axes off a gentleman, which came from, they're Flemish axes, pretty old. And in one of my videos, I do a very bad job of rehandling one. Well, not rehandling it, but refitting the handle. Yeah, here's Johnny, yeah, exactly. I've got a Here's Johnny axe now, Sebastian. Bucking sent me a lovely present. He sent me a lovely double bit axe. That's a present. So, okay, Josh. Yeah, I'm not aware of that. Same with chainsaws. We call it a get-together. Good idea. Yeah, so he sent me this. So this is what my wife's concerned about, is her coming home on Friday night and finding me waiting for her with this on the rack. Funny how shoes are fine and axes are questionable. Yeah, that is something. Although, I was speaking to Bucking earlier on. As you know, we lost one of our dogs a couple of weeks ago, old Barty, through old age. So I went to excuse me a sec, I've just got to move this just a moment. So yeah, talking about the shoe situation, which I'm sure exists in every house. how I look at it is it's kind of an investment program for the local dog charity, because the shoes just pass through our hands. They come into the house having been purchased, and they are used for a certain number of applications, whatever those applications might be, and then they are subsequently passed on, because they are no longer required, to the local dog charity. And said dog charity was visited today to find 2 new dogs. So these new dogs will be joining us next week. So these 2 dogs, Ori and Monkey, will be joining us next week on the farm. They are currently in the dog shelter, and they were living together. You're going to need a bigger yard. I've got quite a big yard, Chris. They were living together with a lady. She saved them from the dog pound. So they'd been rounded up as wild dogs, and they were at the dog pound. She saved them from the dog pound, but unfortunately she was quite elderly, and she subsequently died, and the dogs were left without anybody to look after them. So they were taken in by the shelter, which is a great shelter, and we kind of help out a little bit with donations and clothing for them to sell and stuff ourselves. And so I got in touch with them today. Guy works incredibly hard, who looks after the dog shelter. These dogs weren't in a good condition when they came in, and now you can see they're in great condition. So these guys will be coming over next week, and I'll do a little video when they arrive. We never own these dogs. We adopt them, in inverted commas. So they come and live with us, and the sanctuary has the right at any time to come and just check that they're okay, and they can be taken off us if we don't look after them properly, which I think is right. You know, it's the only right way to be. The dog we've got at the moment, Muttley, the only one that's left, he is also just turned up on the farm. In fact, there's a little bit more. Do you know why they have a half moon cut out of the outhouse door? No, I don't. He turned up on the farm and we adopted him. So, looks like Tim and Bucking. Cheers, Aaron. So he's an adopted dog, and he wasn't in very good condition when he rolled up, and now he's in too good condition. He's got too much energy, but he needs other dogs with him. You can see it since Bart died. He's okay, but he needs other. Yeah, we've always had rescue dogs, Evo. We up until not so long ago had 5 dogs here, and then they were all very similar age, and they all passed away kind of within a year of each other because of all very similar ages. They all outlived their expected lifespan, and had quite a lot of money spent on them in vet bills and stuff. But there you go. Shawshank and Bucking, Statler and Waldorf. Is that their names? Statler and Waldorf. Those 2 old guys up in the stands. Yeah, Angie. There's a big problem in Spain with like wild dogs, and unfortunately, the nature of Spanish people. I didn't realise that with their names, Northern. Spanish people haven't got the best record looking after animals, and lots of the laughs, Chris. Yeah. Lots of people leave here, go back to their own country. They bought a house here, or they were renting, and they leave here and they go back, and they don't take the animals back with them. So the animals end up in shelters, etc. So we're more than happy. We've had dogs all our lives, Lisa and I. We're more than happy to have older dogs. You know, the dogs. People go into the shelter and they pick up the lovely little puppy. So they go and pick up the lovely, sweet little puppy and cuddly puppy. But we're quite happy to have the older dog, you know, that's had a nice home all its life and suddenly finds itself in a situation that he doesn't understand, so we never mind. There is another dog there. I think they do, John, actually. I mean, Muttley is quite incredible because I think they do appreciate, they've seen the other side of life and been a bit hungry. And so, you know, when they're living in a nice situation, I think they appreciate it. I think if they're just born into it, they don't really get it. The only thing we have to be really careful of with Muttley, he doesn't like plastic bags at all, and I think there's a bit of history there. So we have to be really careful. Like if you're changing the bin liner or whatever in the kitchen, you have to make sure he's not around because he doesn't like that. So yeah, there is a dog at the pound which I talked to the guy who runs, not the pound, the shelter. I talked to the guy who runs the shelter about it today, and he is not able to be around men. He can be around women, but he can't be around men. Something's obviously happened to him. We may take him because we've got enough space here that he can just kind of do his own thing. All the dogs we've had, we just let them do their own thing until they kind of come around to wanting to be with you. They don't necessarily want you grabbing them and fiddling around with them when they first come. So we're in a very fortunate situation here that we've got lots of space, and because of the nature of where the house is and because of the temperature, we never close the doors and windows in the house. So even when we go out, we just leave all the doors open, so the dogs can just go wherever they want. So you can have a dog like that that's difficult, because it will just do its own thing and you know, be in with the pack. If we've got 3, we'll have Muttley and the 2 others, and then that one, he can just muck about with them. He hasn't got to be fiddled with. All right, Josh. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. And sorry, I'm just rambling, aren't I? Rambling about dogs. But there you go. If you like dogs, you like dogs, and we like dogs. So it doesn't bother me how many you have. And the more you have, the more they look after each other anyway. So, like Bucking with his 3-legged Chica, you know, just part of the family. So, yeah, it doesn't really bother me if we have 5 or we have 10. And certainly when we had 5, you almost didn't have to participate at all. Yeah, thanks, Bucking. Well, what it is, you know, the reason I talk a lot, and talk a lot like almost to myself, is because all the people that are around me fall asleep, especially when they get into cars and they have to go down the motorway. So I just have to like amuse myself, and so that's where it stems from, in fact. If you believe that, you'll believe anything. I just like the sound of my own voice. Just can't get over how amazing I am, so I just like talking about it. But yeah, there you go. That's my dog thing. Yes, it probably is the coffee, actually. I can feel my head starting to ache a bit. My wife by mistake, bought me that Coke Zero without any caffeine in the other day. No, you're right, Michael. I mean, obviously, present company accepted. Let's talk about that more. Yeah, okay. Present company accepted. I like dogs more than I like people generally. So sorry to say that, but you know where you are with the dog. Sebastian, you got a black raven. Did you get it online? Did you buy it online? What do I do for a living? Good question, Kevin. What do I do for a living? I do lots of different things for a living. I don't have to do anything for a living. Won it on eBay. Oh, brilliant. I don't have to do anything. I'm in a situation where I don't, let's say I'm financially secure, so I don't have to do anything. But I choose to, as Mr. Bucking Billy Ray chooses to, as we all choose to, do consulting for people. And that's bringing the knowledge that I have from previous incarnations, previous work incarnations, to bear on people's circumstances to help them out in different ways. So I basically facilitate things for people, whether that be financial or otherwise. Mostly what I do is I advise people who want to buy farms here. And so I advise them on what type of revenue they can expect if they were to change the farm from the type of agriculture it has now to, you know, for instance, up until quite recently, talk their ear off, I just talk to them until they can't take any more. And then once they can't, they're just at breaking point, they sign, they buy it, whatever it is. Even if they don't want it, they buy it. So I just talk to them until travel abroad. No, I used to travel a lot, Chris. I think Bucking showed you my passport. I did used to travel a lot. That was for something else. That wasn't for this. But subsequent to that travel, that's why I've got the connections I've got. So I know a lot of people in a lot of places who can do a lot of things. But I don't travel much anymore. I really try not to. Sure wish Tim could be here for this. Not sure what you mean, saw surgeon. Sure wish Tim could be here for this. I used to travel a lot. In fact, travel so much that you'd wake up in the night and walk into the wall. Excuse me. Angie, it is real estate. It's real estate in terms of farms. So I only deal with farms, and I deal with mostly productive farms that have crops. Don't have any livestock here because the weather doesn't really permit that. Mid Spain up to the north of Spain you can have livestock, but down here, apart from goats and sheep, you can't really have anything. So it's arable and citrus, etc. Yeah, lots of upkeep. So that's what I do, and I also, through various connections that I have. Oh, you do the software. Okay, Angie, that's interesting. So is that like XML feeds for property and that type of thing? I used to work, my motto was, if it ain't broke, interesting climate. If it ain't broke, it ain't broke. A lot of free time now. Yes, Michael, okay. Well, I do all sorts of other things as well. I do websites for people, and I do all sorts of bits and pieces. I've got about 10 websites on my own, different things. Okay, Angie. Yeah, I understand. I also arrange finance for people in order to facilitate the purchase of these properties. And I have I hope nobody works in a bank. I have a terrible dislike of banks and financial institutions. Let's not go there. So I know quite a lot of people who are independently wealthy who will lend money to people, and I'd rather see an individual make some money out of something and charge a fair rate than some institution. Basically, you know what I'm going to say, people. So, I just do things like that for people. So I hope that, it took a long time, didn't it? That's kind of what I do. Then I used to be involved in global, sounds important. I used to be involved in global telecommunications. So I used to be one of 3 partners in a large telecommunications company, which I sold my interest in when I was 40. I'm now 51. So that's why I used to travel a lot, because the company used to be present in, I think, 27 countries, mostly Africa and the Middle East. So mostly Muslim countries. One of the reasons pretty much, although it's not 100%, I pretty much stopped drinking because I was dealing with Muslims all the time who don't drink. Well, some of them do, but mostly don't, and so you get out of the habit, and you go out to dinner in the evening with people and you don't drink any alcohol, so just kind of stopped. And now I will occasionally. Lisa used to be a cabin services director for one of the big airlines, and she's travelled all around the world, and she used to live in Bahrain, was based in Bahrain. She used to party a lot, and she used to drink a lot, and so now she doesn't, because she's consumed, let's say in her first 25 years she consumed enough for the rest of it. So neither of us really drink much anymore. That's kind of a legacy of that, working in Muslim countries, I guess. Anyway, that's probably not very interesting for people, just generally talking about general rubbish, really, as I normally do, as Bucking will testify to. 95% of what comes out of my mouth is rubbish, and the other 5% isn't interesting, so that's why I live on my own in the middle of nowhere on a farm. Johnny No Mates. Ask me a question. Quick, ask me a question. Do we have an olive farm? No. The farm here is citrus. Orange, lemon, avocado, mango, organic lemons. What had to be done to have organic lemons on the other side of the farm, so on the north slope, because the farm's on a hill, on a big hill, and you've got the south slope where we live, and the north slope, which is over the other side. The whole farm is 120 hectares, and a hectare is 10,000 square metres. Oh, you should know, Angie, because you're in Canada. You've got metres, haven't you? Sorry, I get confused with America, where they don't have, they have acres. Acres. So, yeah, it's sizable. And to have organic lemons on the north side, you can't have your neighbours spraying chemicals which might contaminate the lemons that are organic. So like a buffer of olives had to be bought. So there was olives all around that side, and that had to be bought to make that side organic. So no, there are not olives on the farm intentionally as a crop, but there are olives on the farm. And olives here have suffered in the last few years, and the reason for that, cheers Huck, thanks very much for participating. Sorry I've just rambled on about general rubbish. Just ask me a question next time if you want something sensible. You probably won't get something sensible anyway. So there's people work on the farm, Angie. There's five guys work on the farm all the time. 2.47 hectares in a 2.47 acres in a hectare. There you go. There's a question answered. See, people here are a font of knowledge, as you no doubt realise. Make me look stupid, which isn't difficult. So yeah, olives have suffered here in the last few years, and the reason for that is that the people growing the olives, traditionally the olives have been consumed here, and then when there was a downturn in the economy here, there weren't so many olives being consumed internally in Spain, and so nice one, Carl. And so the market kind of fell, and the value of olives fell. The situation is that the people here growing olives aren't very worldly. They're not very global. Most of the olive growers probably don't know what the internet is, or if they do, well, they probably don't. And so what it needs, and it's another thing I'm kind of looking into, someone's looking into it for me, is like a portal, really, where all of the olive growers can put their crop. Nice one, Marshy. Very good. See? We're all going metric in our old age. Yeah, they need somewhere where they can put their crop. So, if they've got X number of olives, they can put their crop there, and it can be almost like a stock exchange. There's a fruit and vegetable stock exchange here in Spain where you can put your crop. So if you've got an estimated 20 tons of oranges or whatever, you can put them on there, and people bid on that crop, and then that crop can go all round. Oh, horses, Sin, that's nice. How many horses have you got? So that needs to happen for the olives. So it's coming. 3 horses, lovely. And what are they, Sin? Are they like thoroughbreds or a particular type? How much would an acre of property cost there? Okay, Angie, that's a good question. There are 2 types of land here. One is called secano, which is dry, and the other is called regadío, which means it can be irrigated, or it is irrigated. Wow, Evo, nice. Good size. Appaloosa, lovely. Oh, lovely horses, eh? Beautiful. Well, Sin, we're getting a donkey. Grego said you'd like to see me on a donkey the other day, and I said, look, you're never going to see me on like a tourist donkey because I don't agree with it. But I have sold a farm where there is a donkey, which has been there since it was tiny, and it's now quite big. And it's called Marilyn. And the new owners of the farm don't want the donkey because they are not going to be in residence all the time. So they can't guarantee to look after it. So it's coming here. So I'm going to have a donkey. So we're going to have, 4 blooming dogs and a donkey, of all things. We've got to, well, if anyone's watched the video, we've got 2 paddocks up the top, fenced in, where I'm cutting the cedar trees down, and Marilyn will go in one of those. Marilyn, the donkey. So yeah, I've got Marilyn the donkey coming. Something to look forward to. I'd actually forgotten about that. Yeah, great. Rescue pony. Is he? Yeah, they are, aren't they, Evo? I mean, you have these animals and you do everything for them, and you name the donkey Bucking? I don't know whether it will respond to Bucking, being that it's female, and its name is already Marilyn, and it seems to know its name is Marilyn because when you call it, it comes. So it might be confusing changing its name to Bucking, but it probably will be Bucking if I get on its back. So yeah, Evo, you take these animals in and you do your best for them and everything, and then they are, I mean, the more you do for them, the worse they play up. I've got a wasp here now. Stupid thing. Donkeys protect livestock. Is that true? Protect his cattle from coyote dogs. Is that true? Is that because of the noise they make, Marshy? Do they're like early warning? Is that what that is? Because they do make some. This thing makes a flipping noise, and bares its teeth at you and that. And then when you actually scratch it, it stops. It stops baring its teeth. God, donkeys, yeah. Yeah, I get it a truncheon and a cap, And oh well, yeah, I didn't have a thing on. They bite the dog. Ah, okay. So they'll bite the dog and kick it. All right. I didn't know that. I mean, they are fairly lively, aren't they? I forgot to put my hat on. So yeah, donkey's coming. They still use donkeys here in a very nice way, not related to tourism. Up in the hills where it's very steep ground, and believe you me, if they can drive a machine up and down it here, they will. But some of the ground is so steep that... cheers, Carl. Thanks for coming in. Nice to see you. It is so steep that to pick the almonds on the almond trees, they use donkeys, and the donkeys have these sacks over their backs down either side, and they fill them with the almonds. It's the only way they can pick the almonds, and some of the olives in some places, some of the really steep areas. So they still use donkeys in agriculture. And when we first moved here, which was 17 years ago, where we were living, on the east side of Malaga, about an hour from here, they built a new supermarket, a new shopping centre, big like mall shopping centre with a car park and petrol station and everything. And in the field next to this new shopping centre with the big mall and everything, the guy was ploughing the field with 2 oxen. So he literally turned up with these 2 oxen on a cart. Yeah, all right, Bucking. Why don't you just go and cut a tree down if you don't want to listen to it? Yeah, I'm just giving you a bit of Spanish history here, a bit of Spanish culture. And yeah, he turns up with his car and these 2 oxen pulling it, and he pulls the plough out the back. Yes, I do. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiroo. And he starts ploughing the field right next to this brand new shopping mall, you know. It's like totally diverse. Things have moved on slightly from there. Not much in the last 17 years, but that's how it was when we first came here. Quite funny. I'll do anything, to be honest. I mean, you know, chimney sweep, you name it, you know. Don't mind getting my hands dirty. Diversity is the key, I think. You know, varied revenue streams, I find. I would fit in, yeah. Yeah, diverse revenue streams, I think that's the answer. So, you know, a bit of chimney sweeping, bit of septic tank cleaning, you name it. I'm available. You know, I'm available. Weddings, bar mitzvahs, you name it. So, you know, don't close your eyes to any opportunity, as they say. No, I have turned my hands to many things during my lifetime. But I'm trying to reduce that. Okay, Evo Jigger, great to speak to you. Hope everything goes well for you today. Have a good day. Yeah, I probably bored everybody enough with my my ramblings, and I will sign off. Thanks everyone for coming in. It's been great. Thanks Buckin for joining us. Thanks to Al. Al's had to go, but thanks to Al for coming in. We missed a Swede today. He wasn't around, and we have missed Loaded Dog and Wazza because of the time difference. But hopefully those guys will see us. Cheers, Chris. Yeah, good to see everybody. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for listening to me rambling. Cheers, Angie. Good to see you. Cheers, John. And I'll sign off. And hopefully we'll see you again soon with a video. I'm going to go to the honey place where they bottle up the honey from all the beekeepers. Somebody asked to see. Cheers, Sin. Thanks very much for coming in. I'm going to go and see that, and you can see it all going. They've got a big glass screen, and we'll have a look at all the honey they've got there and everything. It's quite an interesting little trip. Okay, Northerner. Cheers, Chris. Bye, Buckin. Take it easy, boys. Girls, women, children. May the force be with you and all that stuff. Bye now.